We're going to move forward to question 3. Do you think there is a correlation of emasculation and slavery?
Have the young men, the sons who looked up to the brother who exuded this strength, this masculinity, and they seen it. So then they became fearful and started to say, well, okay, well, they're not doing this to these type of softer or less threatening types. So now I'm going to begin to act that way. Then you started to have the mothers and the fathers no longer teaching their child certain masculine traits. Then you have the father who no longer, because he became cowardly, no longer protecting the woman from being beaten and raped and all these things, no longer was willing to give his life. So that fear in the womb that took place caused mass confusion within us as a people. And that was a tradition. You can see it, you know, there was even one tradition where they would actually take a blindfolded mother and her son that she produced when he was a, let's say, a stud, you know, stud being like the big masculine brother, and they would blindfold him and then go make the son have sex with the mother, blindfolded, not knowing that that's his mother. These are historical facts. This happened. So with that, we're talking fear and trauma that is taking place, that's embedded inside of our DNA, that's causing this emasculation. Now everyone's just afraid. And that fear itself is what we're seeing being displayed in society today by us as men.
Break him down. You break him down as saying, hey bro, you cannot stand up. You can't speak when you want to speak. We need you to speak when we tell you to speak. Or you know what? Just don't speak at all. You know what I'm saying? That's breaking a man. When you go and tell a man that, hey, you don't walk on your own drum. You walk to the drums and the instruments that we give you. That again, that is breaking down a man. When you go and tell a man that, you know what? Crawl before you walk. That is, again, straddling a man. So these are a lot of things in today's slavery terms and conditions that we are getting, that you're telling a man not to be a man. Because when you go and you can get men that are not stand up and they're a little bit more feminine, not saying that they are sexual, not saying what their sexual orientation is, but they're more relaxed as a man that would be outright would be. He can succeed in this modern day slavery than somebody that's going to say, you know what, I'm not looking for no handouts. I'm not about to allow you to place a hold or a leash on me. I'm just going to do what I got to do. And you can find those type of men, you can find those type of characteristics really outcast out of this today.
Can I redress on a part of that? Okay, so in today's society, going to what D. Wallace was building on, one of the ways that feminization has affected us is the fact that you do have men who work for the colonizer knowing that they work for the colonizer. So you have to think of the mindset. What does it look like to call yourself a Christian? What does it look like to be a man being proud of a name that you were given in enslavement? That's a feminization. That's emasculation. Correct. No real man is proud of somebody's name that was beat into him. No real man in our ancestry would ever be okay with adopting the religion of a colonizer when it's a historical fact that it's the religion of the colonizer. No real man would go to work knowing that you're working for the families of the people who destroyed, killed, maimed, raped your children, your grandparents. Okay?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So the male that do, what is that male considered?
What do you mean?
He's emasculated.
What do you mean?
As far as is he biting his pride? Like is he?
He's emasculated.
Yeah. So the man. Okay. So look, the man that goes into a situation that he know if he damn if he do, damn if he don't, you might as well be damn if you don't. Because if you go into a situation and you know that situation is against you, and you talking about, all right, I'm only gonna play the game. What's the game? The game is to make us look foolish. The game is to make you look foolish. So how can you say you a masculine man, or how can you say that you a man of the people, for your people, your community, and say that, bro, I'm about to just play the game? Like, nah. Like, at some point, you have to be willing to take a loss so you can win.
What if the game brings you assets?
Assets in the game should never equate in the same. Because what's assets to me may not be assets to the next person. Just think about it. In the United States of America, so-called, the only assets that's really reality is materialism. Because just think about it. If we had to go off what's things that we really need, engineering, last, science, outsource, resources, we're trading with other countries, other continents. How is that really benefiting us? Like, it does not. When it comes to things that matter, we don't stand a chance. And I say we as a population that's within this geographical location. If we put our 15-year-olds with other 15-year-olds in the other 7 continents, so-called 7 continents, our children will produce the least out of the other continents. You're an adult in majority of the other continents at the age of 15. Our 15-year-olds can't even cook, majority.
I would briefly say this. When I look at a man who does what he has to do to put himself in a different position, it's the same thing to me as looking at what our sister Harriet Tubman did and a lot of the revolutionaries. You have a system that's in place that's not beneficial for you. If you take this system and you say, well, when Harriet and Nat Turner and Vesey and the rest of them were fighting, they had to take what weapons were available to them to fight for their freedom.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at it and I say, okay, would a man go work for the colonizer if he had a plan?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Because I have a 2-year or 5-year that says, I've got to do this because this is my shovel right now.
Right.
So I got to dig this hole. Because my moabites, my children, my legacy is dependent upon me digging this hole.
Right.
Okay, so I got to dig it. But as soon as I can throw that shovel away and get my own equipment, then I'm going to do that. But that's what a masculine man looks like, where he says, okay, I've got to do what I got to do because a man, your job is to bite the bullet so she doesn't have
Some
to.
ownership. Because at one point in time, I feel like men have all experienced that.
Mm-hmm.
Preferably when we're talking about in reference to men, black men, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of black men have experienced that. So I was looking for that answer in regards to taking ownership. Because, yes, sometimes you do have to bite the bullet and you have to do what you got to do, right? So you can leave that legacy and build, what you need to do for your family.
That plan.
That goes into the next question.
I agree with you.